If you've been scrolling through endless listings, watching video after video, trying to figure out which Ambisonic mic actually lives up to the hype, you're not alone. The market is full of promises about full sphere sound and plug-and-play VR recording, but most of the time you end up with a microphone that either needs a PhD to set up or drops the ball when you finally get it into the field. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And this review is meant to cut through the noise and tell you whether the Soundfield by RDE and SF1 actually makes sense for your workflow. First off, let's talk about what you're really buying here. This isn't just a single microphone. It's a tetrahedral array of 4 subcardioid capsules, a 10-pin breakout cable, a shock mount, a pop shield, and a box that claims to be ready for location recording. In practice, that means you're getting a hardware platform that can capture sound from every direction at once, then feed that raw data into the included Ambisonic processor plugin so you can stitch together an immersive audio sphere. If you've ever tried to stitch together binaural or stereo recordings for a VR scene and ended up with gaps or weird panning, you'll recognize the appeal of a true first-order Ambisonic solution. Who should consider splurging on this kit? If you're a content creator who regularly produces 360-degree video for platforms like YouTube VR, Facebook 360, or a game engine that supports Ambisonic audio, the SF1 gives you an honest stop shop. The fact that the 4 capsules are already mounted in a rigid tetrahedral frame means you don't have to DIY a custom rig, which can be a time sink and a source of phase errors. The included pop shield is also handy if you're planning to record dialogue or voiceover on location. Nothing worse than a sudden plosive ruining an otherwise perfect Ambisonic scene. On the other hand, if you're a hobbyist who only dabbles in 360 video once a year, you might find the learning curve and extra processing steps more hassle than reward. The price point sits in the premium range, and while you get a complete kit, you still need a decent audio interface with at least 4 XLR inputs and a computer that can run the plugin without choking. If those pieces are missing from your setup, you'll have to budget for them as well. Now, let's walk through a typical day using the SF1. Imagine you're on a city street filming a short, immersive documentary. You mount the microphone on a small boom pole, attach the shock mount, and flip the pop shield into place. Because the 4 capsules are subcardioid, they naturally reject a lot of the direct wind and traffic noise that would otherwise swamp a cardioid mic in the same spot. That's a practical strength you'll notice immediately. The recordings stay relatively clean even when you're a few meters from a passing bus. The 10-pin breakout cable then splits the signal into 4 separate XLRs, which you plug into a 4-channel audio interface like the Focusrite Scarlett 4i4. The setup takes about 10 minutes, and you're ready to roll. The real test comes when you bring those 4 tracks into your DAW and fire up the Ambisonic processor plugin that ships with the kit. The plugin does the heavy lifting, aligning the 4 channels, applying the correct spherical harmonic encoding, and giving you a single Ambisonic format track you can export. For someone who's used to manually rotating and aligning recordings in a visual editor, this automation feels like a breath of fresh air. The workflow is straightforward: import, encode, export. However, the plugin isn't a magic button. You still need to watch out for phase issues if the capsules aren't perfectly level, and you'll have to do a bit of fine-tuning if you want to place sound sources precisely in the 3D space later. In short, the software is powerful but expects you to have at least a basic grasp of Ambisonic theory. What about the downsides that most reviewers gloss over? First, the mic is not truly field-proof. The shock mount does a good job of isolating handling noise, but the whole assembly is still fairly delicate. A hard knock against a hard surface can misalign the capsules, leading to subtle coloration that's hard to fix in post. Second, because the capsules are subcardioid, they do a decent job of rejecting off-axis noise, but they also capture less ambient detail than a full-sphere omnidirectional capsule would. If your project relies on capturing the subtle rustle of leaves or the faint echo of a cathedral, you may notice that the sound feels a touch more focused than you expected. Third, the kit assumes you have a 4-channel interface and a computer capable of running the plugin at low latency. If you're trying to use a basic 2-channel USB mic or an older laptop, you'll quickly run into bottlenecks that make the whole system feel sluggish. From a value for money perspective, the SF1 shines when you factor in the time saved not having to build a custom tetrahedral rig. The individual capsules alone can.